let's talk about audience and tactics. So internally, I talked a little bit about what needs to be handled internally. And it depends. So on a website hacking, we immediately have to get the site down. We have to communicate internally and externally. So if your website is the portal to your mobile apps, to your online banking, nobody can do their banking if your website is hacked. So you need to immediately be communicating and have a plan to do that. The last thing you want to be doing is drafting those messages an hour, 2 hours after it started, because your phone is now ringing off the hook and customer service doesn't necessarily know what to say. And sometimes it's going to be the customer that's going to alert you to an issue before you even know about it. So you have to be ready to mobilize very quickly. The legal team. For every scenario, for a hacking, you probably just need in-house counsel involved. Perhaps you don't need to get to the level of dealing with your outside counsel, because that's going to cost you money too. However, if it gets to a data breach where the hack is capturing data, you probably need all your lawyers involved. So these are the things where you want to think about each scenario. What could happen? Who do we need to bring to the table? Because it costs money. And you're community banks. And you're community banks for a reason. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you have to do, but we don't necessarily need to go overboard. So, who other than your customers and media outside do you need to be communicating with? Anybody have any ideas?
I think your regulators.
Your regulators, absolutely. Who else? About your vendors. Let's say you work with a company like us, and we are putting out an advertising and social media campaign, and we're going to launch it that day, and your website's down. So now all of a sudden we're driving all this traffic to your website, right? So that's another audience to think about. So any of your third parties who may be interacting or pushing traffic to your website, anyone who monitors the media and other and social media and things like that for your company. So your partners, very important. And then what are some of the tools? So I don't always say go directly to the public statement to television. It's often not at all necessary. And most of the time in a crisis, we want to avoid it for you. So what we want to try to do is contain. Remember that keep it as tight as possible. But you need to think about, depending on the situation, what is warranted. It's very rare that a press conference is going to be warranted. But if you had an active shooter and someone was shot, I guarantee you're going to need to have a press conference. Okay? So these are the times where you want to know what that's going to look like, where it's going to be, how it's going to play out, who is going to be the spokesperson. Usually it's your lawyer in that case. So these are, again, I know this is about hacking, but this plays out in all of the different aspects of your jobs. Are you going to put a letter out, whether it's on a temporary website, via social media, mailed later as a follow-up, or perhaps you're going to remain silent. I am not a fan of remaining silent, but I'm going to close with that. A little bit of levity. I do want to bring you to one piece that I told you I would share with you in terms of not remaining silent. I did leave a piece. So I love this quote, as we must account for every idle word, so must we account for every idle silence. Did you ever see those lawyers who get their suit jackets and they hide their client running into the courthouse up the courtroom steps, right? What's the first thing you think? Guilty. No comment. I don't have any comment. What feeling does that give you? Besides that you think somebody's guilty. When somebody says, I don't have any comment, how do you feel? Distrust. When you read the newspaper and it says they were unavailable for comment or refused to comment, how does that make you feel?
Hiding something.
You're hiding something. Do you want people to feel that about you or your businesses? So there are things you can say, and we've shared them here. I'm not going to read them to you. You can see them. However, it's really important to note that there are things you can say without saying anything at all. And take that from a lawyer. The matter is under investigation. We will respond when we have more information. You may never have more information. But if your matter goes public, if it has to go to the media, if it gets to that point, appease them, give them someone's cell phone, let them know that you will speak to them when and if you can, but please don't say no comment. And with that, I'm going to end. Thank you.